Good evening, everyone. Mike Palmer from Know Your Rights Group and Success Coaching International with another very important live video update tonight. So the big news of this week is, of course, the latest regarding the COVID vaccines, and it seems to be very positive news again this week. So firstly, the mainstream media have now come out and clearly admitted the direct link between the COVID jabs and a potentially fatal blood disease that can affect people who have simply caught the common cold. Now, this was front and center mainstream news this morning on 9MSN, and after lunch it seemed to have magically disappeared. So if you type this title in, you should still be able to find it. So it is entitled "A Link Between Dangerous Vaccine Complication and Potentially Fatal Common Cold Blood Disease Uncovered by Researchers." Australian researchers have uncovered a link between an unusually dangerous COVID-19 vaccine complication and a rare but potentially fatal blood disease contracted by some people who caught a cold. The antibodies from the two conditions, vaccine-induced immune thrombocytopenia and thrombosis, which is VITT for short, and adenovirus VITT-like disorder, share almost identical molecular signatures or fingerprints, Adelaide's Flinders University announced today. Indeed, the pathways of lethal antibody production in these disorders must be virtually identical and have similar genetic risk factors. The research comes after VITT emerged as a complication that occurred in some rare cases after receiving some COVID-19 vaccines, including the Oxford AstraZeneca jab used in Australia. VITT was found to be caused by an unusually dangerous blood autoantibody directed against a protein termed platelet factor 4, Flinders University said in a statement. Separately, to research into the vaccine side effect, experts from North America and Europe last year found an almost identical blood disease with the same platelet factor 4 antibody that was fatal for some people who'd recently had a common cold. Flinders researchers Gordon and Dr. Jingjing Wang led a study in 2022 that cracked the molecular code of the PF4 antibody and identified a genetic risk factor. Both Gordon and Wang said the findings would play an important role in improving vaccine safety. Really? Let's hope so. Our findings have the important clinical implication that lessons learned from VITT are applicable to rare cases of blood clotting after adenovirus common cold infections, as well as having implications for vaccine development, Gordon said. So interesting article. Again, I urge you all to look it up. Now, again, I am certainly not a doctor or medical practitioner by any means, but it is my understanding that this kind of thing is one of the very many reasons why we have stringent testing and trialing periods for any new medical treatments to ensure that these exact kinds of rare complications don't occur. Now, clearly, as we all know, that stringent testing and trialing phase simply didn't happen with the various COVID jabs, and now all of this information is coming to light after millions of people in this country, and of course others around the world, have already been coerced into taking them. Now, thankfully, albeit far too little, far too late, the New South Wales Parliament have at least seen the light and acknowledged some of these and the many other risks associated with these jabs. And now looks like they're actually withdrawing the remaining mandates in the health sector. So if you or anyone you know works in the health sector, especially in New South Wales, please make sure you read this article. And of course, if they're doing it in New South Wales, why aren't they doing it in the other states? So this one is entitled "COVID Vaccine Policy Affecting Thousands Finally Scrapped." Rules mandating COVID-19 vaccinations for health staff in New South Wales are set to be scrapped this week after almost 3 years and a series of failed challenges in court. Health officials and workers have in recent weeks been in negotiations to amend the policy, which has remained in place since August 2021. New South Wales Health revealed in early 2022 that 995 staff members had either resigned or been sacked due to the policy introduced during the Delta wave in 2021. In March, New South Wales Health said it was reviewing the rules which required workers to have at least 2 doses of a vaccine unless they had a medical contraindication. However, as with all public health policy, New South Wales Health conducts regular reviews to ensure policy reflects the latest expert advice. Regular reviews? It was been in place for 3 years? Doesn't seem very regular, especially given all the new information coming out on a weekly, even monthly basis. I would have thought they should have been reviewing it a little more regularly and paying attention to some of these other findings that have been coming out, especially over the last 12 months. On Wednesday, 2GB's Ben Fordham reported that he obtained a letter suggesting the policy would be scrapped on Thursday. We've got our hands on a letter from some lawyers that have been involved in the process. It says we anticipate that on May 16, that's obviously today, New South Wales Health will publish an amended version of the vaccination policy. As a result, it is anticipated that as of the 16th of May 2024, COVID-19 vaccination is no longer required, but is instead recommended for workers and recruits to New South Wales Health. So hopefully more of the truth keeps coming out, and hopefully people keep waking up, and hopefully people keep pushing back, and we can see more and more of these sorts of stories coming out. Now, this should, of course, be a very loud and clear warning for everybody out there in regards what to watch out for and what to be wary of when the next pandemic, okay, that they're already talking about, actually happens. Now, in case you missed it, I urge you, please make sure you listen to Tuesday night's radio show podcast that has been uploaded now, and listen to the commentary that we made on this article. Now, obviously, I can't say anything about it on this video because they're all very heavily censored, but I'll leave you a moment to read this title and draw your own conclusions. In case it's hard for you to see, it says, scientists create new coronavirus jab that even works on viruses they haven't discovered yet in a bid to beat the next pandemic. Again, I can't even begin to speak about it on this video, but we did talk about it in detail on Tuesday night's show. If you want to hear our commentary, listen to the podcast. At the very least, please make sure you go and read that article for yourselves. I promise you it will leave you just shaking your head in disbelief. But here's the key point. The fact that the mainstream media is now putting all of this information out there for everyone to clearly see, I see that as a very positive step, because if people still can't see this for what it really is, despite all of these kinds of articles, then there's probably just no hope for those kinds of people. But everybody else can see the truth right before their eyes. Now, speaking of media articles, there are a couple of new articles that came out this week regarding cash that seem to completely contradict each other. Now, the first was an article that suggested that Aussies were spending more on cards than ever before. This is the article there, and it is entitled, Use It or Lose It. Aussies spending more than ever on debit and credit cards as cash use tanks. Aussies are being urged to dramatically alter their spending habits as new research indicates physical cash is an endangered species. Australians are spending more than ever on plastic as the use of cash plummets, prompting banks to close branches and some to eliminate the use of physical currency entirely. Analysis of transaction trends by the Australian Banking Association for the year ending March 2024 found spending on debit cards hit $581 billion, while transactions made with credit totaled $418 billion. Payment by debit cards still outstrips payment by credit cards, ABA Chief Executive Anna Bligh said. This shows the number one choice by Australians is to pay for goods and services with savings rather than credit. Again, if you're going to pay with savings, why not just take the savings out of the ATM and just pay with cash? It's the same thing, but better. More and more people are shifting towards digital payment methods, Ms. Bligh said, with the popularity of e-wallets on mobile devices skyrocketing in recent years. Anyway, it goes on and on and on and on. And then there's a little subheading that says cash no longer king. Back in 2007, about 70% of all transactions were made using cash, but the latest data from the Reserve Bank shows that figure slumped to just 13% in late 2022. The share of in-person transactions made with cash halved over the 3 years to 2022, the RBA's most recent consumer payments survey found. Cash is now used less than electronic methods for all transaction sizes. The demographic groups that traditionally use cash more frequently for payments, such as the elderly, those on lower incomes and those in regional areas, saw the largest declines in cash use. So that's what that article claims. But then there's this article which seems to say completely the opposite. So again, I urge you to have a look at this. So this one says, is entitled, Aussies Say No to Cashless, Reserve Bank Reveals ATM Use on Rise. And it says, a leading cash campaigner says rising ATM withdrawals are proof Australians don't want a cashless society. Data from the Reserve Bank reveals there were 30,859,700 ATM withdrawals made across the country in just February. This marks a 3.6% increase from the corresponding month last year and a 0.5% increase from January. Australians withdrew more than $9.5 billion in February. The data also reveals Australians are withdrawing larger amounts. The average withdrawal rose from $292 to $308 from February 2023 to 2024. Cash Welcome campaign founder Jason Bryce said the data was proof Australians still wanted to withdraw and use cash. Banks can no longer claim that Australians don't want access to physical currency as an excuse for closing branches and ATMs, Mr. Bryce said. Mr. Bryce suggested banks have a vested interest in a cashless society, pointing out they profit from merchant fees on digital payments, card surcharges, and the collection of transaction data. Only cash is reliable, private, and surcharge-free. Without cash as a payment option, there is no competitive pressure on the banks to rein in their rising fees, he said. According to a survey paid for by digital payment app Wave, 71% of Australians are worried about the country going cashless. An online petition calling for government action to protect access to and acceptance of cash has collected more than 174,000 signatures. And it says to go to change.org and search for banking and cash guarantee. So that is, of course, a very timely reminder that if you haven't already done so, please do make sure you add your signature to that petition, and that is the one to legislate a formal cash and banking guarantee in this country. Again, there should be a link going up in the comment section if you're watching on Facebook. If you're not watching on Facebook, if you're watching on BitChute or YouTube, just go to change.org and do a search for formal cash and banking guarantee, and you'll find that petition. And let's, 174,000 is a great start. It should be in the millions. If 71% of people are worried about Australia going cashless, then 71% of the population, and there's 25 million, my maths isn't that good, but it's many millions of people that should be signing that petition to lock in a formal cash and banking guarantee in this country. So please, please, please don't leave it to someone else to do. It literally takes 30 seconds. Jump online, find that petition, add your signature, and then share it around. Now, of course, on a similar point, we do urge everyone to also make sure you join our Call Out Cashless Businesses Facebook group. Let's continue to name and shame these businesses that refuse to accept cash, and of course let everyone know about the ones that promote cash use. And of course, don't forget that sister group, the Cash is King discussion group, a great place to post these kinds of videos, those kinds of articles, talk about CBDCs and digital IDs and all that sort of thing. Again, you'll find comments links in the comment section, or again, just do a search on Facebook. Now, while we're on the subject of keeping cash alive, banks closing down and the like, please make sure you take note of what's going on across the ditch in New Zealand, because they are jumping on the bandwagon as well. So if you have any friends or family in New Zealand, please direct them to this article. It says RBNZ's cash trials and digital currency. With banks deserting small towns and leaving just an ATM behind, the Reserve Bank is starting to think about how communities can get better access to money. What happens when cash is king and then your bank leaves. A businessman in a town which hasn't had a bank for 3 years says the Reserve Bank's plans to put more cash in the hands of its people and introduce digital cash could save hours of time. John Boogan is chairman of the local business association in Reefton. He spent most of his life in Auckland and was co-founder of the Dress Smart shopping mall franchise. After spending years working in that industry, he's moved to a town that has very few stores. The town's population hovers around 1,000. Retailers can feed notes into a flash cash machine left behind by the BNZ when it went, but coins are an issue. The Reserve Bank is looking at putting more cash into the hands of these kinds of communities through cash trials. This could involve security vans being subsidised to pick up cash from small businesses or installing smarter ATMs. Now, if they can do it in New Zealand, why can't they do exactly the same thing here in Australia? Of course they can, but there's no incentive for them. Anyway, the article goes on. He also thinks a new form of digital cash would certainly have some merits. Everyone carries a mobile. It would be a lot easier. But in New Zealand, we hate giving away on stuff we've already had. Cash has been something we've had right from day one. It's the gold standard, as it were. The central banks around the world are playing catch up. Having seen where things are going with cryptocurrency, they want sovereign versions of that digital money. Reserve Bank Head of Money and Cash Ian Woolford tells the detail it would be similar to forms of payment like Apple Pay, but it would be backed by the central bank rather than a commercial bank, which is conceptually more secure. Conceptually being the key word. But many of the details still have to be ironed out. At this point, what we're doing is we're consulting. Isn't that interesting? They're actually consulting rather than just forging ahead with it like what's happening here in Australia. In New Zealand, at least, they're consulting on how it would look and feel, and that enables people to think about it and give us their feedback, he says. So, if they're asking for feedback in New Zealand, make sure you give it to them. This is a multi-year project. We're talking about this going live or being available around 2030. This is something that's globally going to happen in all countries. It's not a question of if, but a question of when. So again, they're not hiding the agenda here. They're spelling it out for you in black and white. Okay, so we need to keep pushing back. Now, as we read out on Tuesday night's radio show, there was huge backlash from the New Zealand people against the proposed misinformation bill that the New Zealand Parliament was trying to get off the ground. In fact, so much so that it was actually completely abandoned. So be like New Zealanders, okay? Collectively fight back against this incessant cashless society, CBDC and digital ID push with everything you've got at every single opportunity. Now, speaking of digital IDs, have a listen to what they're now doing in the UK, which again is something that's almost certainly going to be implemented very soon right here in Australia, especially given the rushing through of the Digital ID Act just last month. Now, it didn't print out overly well, but this is actually on the UK government website. So if you look up the title here, it's not an article. It will actually take you to the United Kingdom government website. And this is the heading of this particular web page. It says Digital Identity Certification for Right to Work. Really? You have to have a right to work? I thought that was a human right that everyone was given to enable you to sustain yourself. Right to rent? You have to have a right to be able to rent somewhere to live. And criminal record checks. So it says it was broken down into 7 or 8 sections. It's quite a long web page, but a couple of the key points I just want people to be aware of, because this will be implemented around the world, within a short period. So it says introduction. On 27 December 2021, the government announced its intention to enable employers and landlords to use certified digital identity service providers, IDSPs, to carry out identity checks on their behalf for many who are not in scope to use the Home Office online services, including British and Irish citizens. Alongside this, the Disclosure and Barring Services, DBS proposal, will enable digital identity checking within their criminal record checking process using Certified Digital Identity Service, IDSPs. This guidance sets how IDSPs can become certified to complete digital identity checks for the right to work, right to rent, and DBS schemes, respectively, in line with the Department for Digital, Culture, Media and Sports UK Digital Identity and Attributes Trust Framework. What a mouthful. In essence, they are putting everything online. And we've spoken, in depth many times about all of the problems with putting things online, the hacks, the data accesses. There was something came out just today that I just glanced upon that I didn't have time to include into tonight's video, but I'll put it into the next. This is really worrying. And it goes on to say, section 2, what this means for employers and landlords. Employers and landlords will be able to work with IDSPs to utilise identification document validation technology, IDVT, to carry out digital identity checks on behalf of British and Irish citizens who hold a valid passport, including Irish passport cards. The relevant changes to legislation will take effect from 6th of April 2022. Enabling the use of IDVT for right to work, right to rent and DBS checks will help to support long-term post-pandemic working practices, accelerate the recruitment and onboarding process, improve employee mobility and enhance the security and integrity of the checks, right up until it gets hacked or attacked. Now, this is, really worrying, okay? Because, look, like our Digital ID Act that was, as I said, rushed through Parliament just last month, it's not mandatory yet. But like the COVID jabs, what's going to happen is that the people who don't sign up for it, people who don't partake in this digital ID are going to be ostracised, and slowly but surely you'll be able to function less and less and less in society without it. So again, I cannot make this any clearer. These systems simply cannot work if nobody signs up for them. If nobody applies for the digital ID, if nobody applies for the director ID, if nobody applies for digital licenses, okay, the systems simply can't work. They'll just sit there dormant doing nothing. So please keep standing your ground. Refuse this ongoing barrage of offers to engage in new technology for convenience and security, which is how they always try and sell them, because there's absolutely no other benefit except to them, which is complete control of your data. But there's certainly no benefit to you. Now, a perfect case in point is, of course, the new digital driver's licenses. Now, these have been available in other states for a while now, but they're just actually being rolled out now in Victoria. So those of you in Victoria, please keep an eye out for this. If you know anyone in Victoria, please send them this article. It says digital driver licenses finally launched in Victoria. Digital driver licenses have finally been launched in Victoria, meaning drivers can now access a digital version of their license on their phone instead of carrying the physical card around. Who cares? What is the real world benefit of that? Why is that an issue? The new licenses have become available today, more than 4.5 years after they were introduced in New South Wales and South Australia. So for once, Victoria was a little bit behind, a little bit behind the rest of the country, but usually they're the ones forging the path. They will be updated in real time if there are changes to license conditions or personal information like home addresses. The government has said more than 4.5 million Victorians who are fully licensed drivers, motorcyclists or heavy vehicle operators are now eligible to download the digital licenses. Don't do it. They can be added to phones after, see, here's the key, here comes the hook now, after drivers set up a profile via the My Vic Roads and Services Victoria apps. So you have to sign up for the apps, you have to give the government more of your private personal information, and then they'll allow you to do this. For what purpose? Roads Minister Melissa Horne said the technology would make it easier for Victorians when they go about their day-to-day lives. What's the difference if you show your phone or you pull your wallet out and pull out your license? Really? Is it really that much more difference? Is it really that much more convenient? Whether that's driving around, renting a car, collecting a parcel, or visiting a licensed venue, she said. Digital licenses were introduced in New South Wales and South Australia back in October 2019. Queensland rolled out similar technology last month after trialling it in 2022. Okay, you've got to watch out for this stuff. Please don't fall for the trap. Okay, don't allow them to put your personal private information up online where it can be so easily accessed, hacked, or whatever else, just for some minor perceived convenience. Okay, I mean, at the end of the day, what real world upside is there to having a digital driver's license as opposed to the real world downsides of doing it? Just stick to the physical little piece of plastic, okay? And when nobody takes up their pointless offer, they'll just have to scrap the system, and it'll be another huge victory against this constant digital ID push. Now, the digital ID push, the cashless society agenda, the overall bigger picture of how the powers that be are increasingly trying to control us and erode our rights and freedoms. These are just some of the many, many topics that we cover at our live events, as well, of course, as the specific steps that you can take to fight back and protect yourself and your family. So this is a very timely reminder that our final live events in Melbourne for the foreseeable future will be held in just 2 weeks' time, 2 weeks tomorrow. So it's the 31st of May and the 1st and 2nd of June. So please, if you want to take advantage of your last chance to see us live in person and learn all of the incredible, fully updated information that we are sharing at this year's events, and of course you get to personally come up to us and ask us any questions that you may have, then please go to our seminar page. There's a link in the comments, there's a link in the description, and please book your seats before they sell out, because once each venue is full, that's it. We can't add extra seats in. All right, so finally, I'm going to finish off with the latest testimonial from one of our members, and of course some more great memes to get people thinking. Now, this testimony is fantastic. Okay, there's not a single space anywhere here. It has all been thrown in together, but I love it. I love it because it's from someone called Branimir, and as you'll see, Branimir's English is definitely not Branimir's first language, and I think that is fantastic because I hear so many excuses of, oh, it's too hard to fight fines, it's too difficult to challenge in court, and all the rest of it. And listen to this story because this is great. Says, I've decided to let you know, around middle of 2019, I watched a person I knew defended their rights in court and thought this person takes no crap from anyone. I began researching and came across your rights and began watching your videos on Facebook. December 2019, I had a bad accident driving a heavy vehicle and was still alive and miraculous, no physical injury. It was on the TV and papers. Paramedics got me out of there before the media vultures could attack. I quit truck driving. Also, I said to myself, I'm not going to take crap from anyone or anybody. I've lost contact towards a lot of friends because I made them realize they are full of BS. Around 2020, or I think 2021, I think, around 2020, I received a BS infringement fine. I said to myself, keep to my own words, take no crap from anyone, even if it's a government department. I bought your Know Your Rights and Aussie speeding fine booklet, but it was too late to do the 3-step letters. I told myself, going to do it the hard way, and it was. Firstly, they tried to stop me from going to court by sending my infringements to the fines recovery unit. I sent a couple of emails to them. Then I received a summons for court. The first appearance for plead or mention was not guilty. 2 directions of hearing, then hearing. A friend of mine is an expert with computers and asked him for some help to research information towards my case, and he said yes. The court case took 10 months. The books is a great way to knowing my rights. I studied nearly every night during the court case. When the prosecutor finally emailed the details, I received the details of the person that tested the mobile speed camera as they began their shift. My friend, the computer expert, downloaded the manual of the speed camera and told me it was hard to find that manual. We began to research and found out when they test the camera, it has to be done on the foot. I looked at the distance test on the speed camera. The person written 80.126, The manual stated exactly on the foot that it had to be 80.0. I sent email to the prosecutor about the distance and received no reply. Also, they email to me, if I lost the case, I'll be charged $1,000 on top of the fine, and I sent the paragraph from the book that tells them that's extortion. I still appeared for the hearing, as in the book stated they allocate time for the hearing. I arrived for the hearing for 9 a.m. 10 a.m. the door opened. As we began, the prosecutor interrupted and told the judge, "Fine is dismissed." The judge gave me a smile and told to leave. Thanked the judge and the prosecutor. 2 days before the hearing, I couldn't sleep. Kept watching your videos for support and really scared, as I'm not accustomed to this, and kept telling myself I just want to have my say in front of the judge. Today I've refused the jab, refused to wear a mask, refused the lockdown, refused anything the corrupt, treasonous politicians try to force onto me, reduced or stopped giving money to corporations that supports this corruption, give cash towards the local business, using cash only, and still don't take crap from anyone. I've realised it takes years for my mind to mentally toughen to take on this corruption. I still no consent and no comply to this One World Corporation. Also bought the home study course to gain more knowledge towards my constitutional rights, plus I have the 3-step process ready for any future infringements, a bit more organised. I thank you. Now, that to me is just pure gold. That is absolutely brilliant. You know, here's someone who does clearly have an excuse why it might be a bit concerning to, write letters or go to court, and he's put all of those aside and just, stood his ground and fought. So absolutely brilliant stuff, Branimir. Hopefully you're watching. A big shout out to you. And again, this is a loud and clear message to everyone. Keep standing your ground. Keep fighting. Okay, and please, if you don't yet have that Aussie Speeding Fines book, grab that book, turn straight to chapter 3, use that 3-step process that he refers to there, okay, to challenge any and every unjust or unlawful fine that you might receive. All right, so finishing off with some memes. Now, obviously, I mentioned on a recent video update about AstraZeneca being withdrawn in Europe and Australia and other countries, and I think this is pretty obvious. So, I mean, I shake my head at the people who have said to me, "Oh, it's okay, I didn't get the AstraZeneca, I got the blah, blah, blah." Like, really? Really? You honestly, genuinely believe that that one's okay? Hopefully not. Yes, I like this one. Okay, this is really good. This is really powerful. I'm going to read it out for you. It says, "No, you will not be mandating anything to me. Apparently there's some confusion on your part about the relationship we have. You work for me. I'm not your servant nor your slave. I will not be talked down to. I will not be mandated to, and I will not be forced to do anything against my will. You are my employee. It's not your place. Get it straight. Sincerely, we the people." So hopefully you can all forge forwards with that exact type of attitude. And again, on the same point, we keep hearing this, trust the science. Well, we've spoken about trusting the science a number of times before, but as it says there, nothing says trust the science quite like you can't sue us if something goes wrong and we need 55 years to release the data to the public. So, as we've seen already, especially over the last 6 to 12 months in particular, the truth about the science is finally starting to come out. And yes, I love this one. We've missed the Muppets. The Muppets haven't come out for a while, but as you can see, they're clearly still around. I'm sure you've seen this guy on the TV far too many times, and I'm sure you've seen many people wandering the streets, driving their cars, still with masks on. So as it said, spot the difference. One of these is a Muppet with no heart, no intelligence, is fake and is all show. The other, of course, is Kermit the Frog. So hopefully you enjoy the Muppet reference. And this one, hopefully a lot of you feel this same way. Hopefully a lot of you watching this can really relate to this. Because I know that I certainly do. So as it says, "I was once willing to give my life for what I believed this country stood for. Today I'd give my life to protect my family from what this country has become." So we need, hopefully no one has to give their life specifically in order to do that, but we do need to keep standing our ground. We do need to keep fighting back. So I'm going to leave things there for tonight. As always, I do urge you to please make use of all of the various resources that are available to you to please get informed, get fired up, and get proactive. We really do need that this year more than ever before. As always, these videos are completely free to watch. You'll find them on the videos tab on our Facebook page. You'll find them on our YouTube channel. You'll find them on our BitChute channel. So please be sure to go and watch them. There's plenty of free information on our website, on the other websites that we recommend. There's links in the description there. You can read all of that free info. Our radio shows, again, completely free to listen to every Tuesday night between 8 and 10 p.m. If you've missed any of our past shows, you can join up as a podcast member for less than $5 a week. It is a tiny, tiny amount. I know things are tight right now, but give up one, paid cup of coffee a week and join up as a podcast member. It's going to do you a hell of a lot more good, I promise you. Go back and listen to the last nearly 10 years worth of podcasts and all the information that we've shared over that period of time. Now, of course, if you want to go above and beyond that, we do, of course, recommend our Know Your Rights book, the essential step-by-step manual for understanding and exercising your rights. It covers a wide range of topics, some that many people have never even heard of before, with things like Unidroit and the strawman concept. Of course, that Aussie speeding fines book that I mentioned before, these guys have been around for 17 years now, so their information works. It can be adapted to suit any kind of unjust and unlawful fine. So grab that if you don't yet have it. And we do know, of course, a lot of people are genuinely, honestly struggling financially, so please stop throwing good money after bad at these unsecured loans. Your credit cards, your personal loans, they can be very easily wiped out, discharged, just by sending a few simple letters. Again, grab that book if you don't have it. You can get these individually. You'll find links in the description and the comments. Otherwise, you can get them all as part of the combo pack. You do also get our Know Your Rights tote bag included as a bonus, no extra charge. Now, on that point, very important, the CDs that come with the books, we have just had a brand new batch of the USB CD DVD drive. So if you don't have a CD or DVD drive in your computer or laptop, jump on our website. Again, you'll find a link in the comment section. Otherwise, you'll find these on our shop page. You can plug these into any PC, Mac, laptop, whatever you want. Put the DVD, CD straight in there. There's USB slots at the top. You can convert all the data straight over to USB. Very, very handy little devices. Of course, we've got our caps and beanies. So if you don't yet have those, protect your head, and great way to meet like-minded people. They see the logo, they come up, they have a chat. So grab those as well. And finally, of course, if you can't make it to our live events for one reason or another, do make sure you grab our home study course. It is a complete recording of one of those 2.5-day events. There's 3 custom-made workbooks. There's sections next to every single slide from every single presentation to write your notes. There's 17 DVDs that you can pause, rewind, fast forward in the comfort of your own home at your own pace. It is a fantastic resource that you'll come back to again and again and again. So I'm going to leave things there. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. We will speak to you, of course, next Tuesday night on the radio show. And again, we'll be back next Thursday with our next live video update. Until then, take care.